Hey, welcome back to Lead with Intentions. I hope you are all having a day filled with just amazing, vibrant energy. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Coach Ambereen. I show up here every single day, every single week to serve all of you. I wish on a daily basis here at 12 p.m. Eastern Time as we dive in and talk about individuals who are really leading intentional lives. Today is no different. Welcome to Spanglish Network TV and Zingo TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app on your respective app stores on iOS and also across all Android devices. While you're downloading the app, please make sure that you're able to rate and comment so that way we know what we are doing well and what we need to improve on. This way we can serve you as best as we can. Also, the app is completely free. It's available across Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire Sticks, Roku, all the good stuff, along with any smart TV 2016 and beyond. As I start today's session, it is really important for me to take a moment and just introduce Dr. Michelle Odette Green, who's an accomplished entrepreneur, an author, brain health trainer, neuroencoder specialist, and a certified coach with a background in employment, training, and education. She's made it her life's mission to educate and inspire individuals to lead a happy, healthy, and productive life. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Hello, hello. I'm so happy to be here.
How are you doing today?
I am doing great and grateful. And again, just happy to be here today with you and our audience, of course.
Definitely. Well, we're really excited to have you here. All those amazing credentials, which kind of shows us that you are somebody who is trying to do your best, who's trying to live into a purpose, do the things that really matter, and lead in a life, like you said, to educate and to inspire. As we dive in today, the first question I want to ask you is tell me something about you. Who are you and what is it that you do?
Who am I? Wow, I love that question. I always love when somebody asks me, who am I? First and foremost, I have to say this is that I am a child of God. I just have to say that because I start my day every day thanking the Lord for waking me up for another day so that I can pursue my mission. And that mission is to educate and inspire individuals to lead a happy, healthy, and productive life. I am a brain health coach. I am an author, a speaker. More importantly, I am a mother, a wife, and a grandmother. I have these grandbabies that I love so much. So I really am working to make an impact because I know that our babies are our future. And I understand that in our younger years, and I always say when we're in our mother's womb, we can go deeper into that if you would like to, but I'd like to start with when we are in our mother's womb. At that time, we are being programmed and we are being conditioned. And up through the age of about 8 years old,
Mhm.
you are like a sponge. You're taking everything in that you're seeing in the world. And because of that, your personality is being developed during those younger years. And so I'm just on a mission to help shape individuals in those younger years so that when they are older, we won't have to fix them. They'll be whole and healthy. And so that's
Mhm.
who I am, and that's what I'm really about, really wanting to help people elevate their lives to be better, to do better, and to
Mhm.
have the things that they desire.
Yeah, I think it is so beautiful how you began the conversation just to say, well, I am this, and this. These are my credentials. This is what I have kind of earned. But the most important thing is exactly what I love talking about more than anything else, that family, right? And I think when you aspire to change the family unit by being a role model, you really change the game of how things can be done.
Absolutely.
So, how do you think this is a great question to ask? How do you think you've changed your own mindset, your own thought set, or even your brain health from the time when you were a mother versus now that you're a grandma?
Yes. I wish that I knew the things that I know now back then when I was rearing my kids prior to
Mm,
becoming a grandmother. I am grateful to say that even though I didn't know all the things that I know now, back then I was practicing a lot of the things that I practice now. And I'll give you a few examples as I get into explaining. So now I realize how important your thinking is. I understand how your thoughts really impact how you behave.
mm,
And before I really understood the significance of that, I would have these thoughts and I would, just thoughts that to me were unresourceful. And I remember one day, one of my friends said to me, she said, the beginning of anything is the thought. And when she said that, I was like, oh my goodness, I am in trouble because some of the thoughts that I have are not good. And I'm like, I don't want half of the stuff that I think to actually happen. And so I started understanding the power of our thoughts, the power of our words. And once I started understanding them,
mhm,
and realized that I had choices for my life. Then I went on a quest to really dive into personal development, to learn how to elevate my thinking. And one book that I read early on was As a Man Thinketh. And when I read that book, that helped change my behavior. It helped change the way I was thinking because again, I had these babies or younger young kids. Let me just say
mhm.
kids because by the time I read the book, As a Man Thinketh, my kids were a little older, but
Okay.
I had these kids, and I realized that I was their role model, and that the things that
Mm,
I was doing in life, they were paying attention to me, and it wasn't just about do as I say, because I started understanding they're doing as I do, so they're mirroring my behavior. And once I really started to understand that early on, I started doing work to actually change how I thought, the things that I said, the things that I did. And now, as a brain health trainer, and I'm also a neural encoding specialist, I
mhm,
even understand much more about neurochemicals and how our words affect what we do, how we behave. And I now teach that to my kids, my grandkids, now that I understand it. And I also wrote a book here. This book here is called Be Successful for Life, Elevate Your Thoughts, Words, Actions, and Results. And I wrote this book with my grandkids in mind, specifically at the
mhm,
time. And then I felt like, okay, this book can help everyone. And so that's what caused me to have it published as well. And the premise of the book, again, is centered around how you think, the words that you use, the actions that you take. And because of all of that, it will dictate your results. And I wanted my grandkids to have my words long after I
mhm,
transition this life. Yes, I've been talking to them and training them and teaching them and modeling good behavior over the years. And again, I just wanted to also have this book so that they could go to it. Like I said, once I'm long gone, they still have my words. And so that is my short answer. How do you like that? I know
think
that
it's
was much longer.
no, that is, I think that's exactly what our viewers needed to hear, and I encourage every single person who is sitting over there listening to this to take notes, because as I'm looking down, I don't want people to think I'm doing something bad. I'm literally just taking notes because I love to carry forth with these nuggets. And it's never too late is the kind of what I'm hearing from you. As when we are parents, the responsibility to raise children is so high. There are so many stresses that come in, disruptions that happen, routines that get changed. But I think when you step into this area of being a grandparent, you almost enjoy the life, the little things, And then here you are talking about how you want to leave something for them. And I think it's so
Yes.
commendable to say that the viewpoint you have, even when you're writing a book, is what do I want to leave behind? And the
Mhm.
thought is around for my grandkids to simplify it, but you're really leaving a lot behind for other individuals too. So, what does it actually mean for you to lead, with intentions or to live intentionally?
Living intentionally is everything to me. When I start my day, I start it with intention. When I get up in the morning, I talk to myself. I think self-talk, that's just one of my personal tools that I love
Mhm.
to really intentionally do. And that's the best way I know how to say it right now. And the reason I say it like that is because the words that we speak, they are actually energy. And so that's energy going forth. And it's like you're calling in what you are speaking. And so I start my day with speaking, affirming things that's going to help me have an outstanding day, to be happy, to do things to make sure that I'm practicing being healthy
Mm.
and also being productive. So I'll start my day again and I'll jump up to my feet and say, today is going to be a great day. Why is it going to be a great day? Because I'm going to look for everything that's great, and anything that's not great, I can handle it because I have the right mindset. And then I just go about my
Mhm.
day. I have my morning routine, but I have an evening routine also. So my evening routine really sets up my day for the next day. And so everything is with intention. And I strive to have a day that is powerful, that is purposeful, that I'm making sure that I'm getting things done that matter. And I believe that when you set your priorities, then you can get the highest priorities done. And I like to get them done first thing in the morning because that's when I
Mhm.
find that I have a lot of energy. At night, I tend to have energy as well. But, some people are morning people, some people are afternoon, some people are evening. And so, but I find that to do my highest priority activities are in the morning. And so, bottom line to what I'm saying is that intention is everything.
Mhm.
And living your life with intention gives you focus. It gives you a purpose and it keeps you moving forward. Whereas if you don't live with intention, you don't set your priorities, you'll get into this drifting and you don't know what to do, which way to go. And you can find yourself going in circles because you have not intentionally laid out your plan for the day, the week, the month, the year. And so living with intention is actually, to me, really helping you to keep yourself moving forward.
Mm. I think that's such a beautiful rephrase that you've said. You've kind of said, um, everything in life happens with intentions, right?
Yes.
What you designed for yourself, how you rise in the morning, how you sleep at night, the things you focus on, the fact that you've explicitly told us that you have a daily, weekly, hopefully monthly, quarterly, and a yearly plan. And that,
Yes.
you talk about even your own purpose statement to make life more productive for individuals. If there
Yes.
was one thing, you did touch upon your morning, but if there was one tool, if there was one advice that you want to share with the audience about their evening routine, because I think what happens is people get stuck in the I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this at nighttime, right? Like the self-talk at night or the accomplishments at night really don't become what we had idolized and hoped for them to. So how could you help our users by saying, do this one thing before you go to bed every day, and it'll prepare you for a more beautiful life?
So I love practicing self compassion.
Hmm.
And self compassion is key because things happen where you may not get everything done during your day that you set out to do because life continues to life, if you will. Les Brown has a way of saying it, life be lifing. So stuff will happen throughout the day that may throw you off your priority list.
Mhm.
And that's okay. And so practicing self compassion, knowing that you can pick it up the next day, is key. And so for me, I look at, okay, what things went well for the day? What things am I grateful for?
Okay.
And I focus on that. So these are the things that went well. These are the things that I'm grateful for. And then I literally, and I don't do it audibly, but I'll do it in my head. I will go through visualizing my next day, how I'm going to get up in the morning. When I rise to my feet, I literally will do the stuff in my head. I'm going to say it's going to be a great day. I'm going to accomplish X, Y, and Z so that at the end of the day, I'll look at my day and see that I accomplished X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
So, just that evening routine for me, it helps me sleep so much better. And when I get up in the morning, my mind frame is positive. And so, the most important thing to me is that when I go to sleep, and I encourage others to also have positive thoughts when
Mm.
you go to sleep. Think about your day from the positive perspective, the things that you did, and celebrate those things for yourself. Because how you end your day, in my experience, is how you begin your next day. And
Mm.
so if you can focus on the positive, then I believe through my own personal experience that again you will start your day in that positive mindset.
I 120% agree with you. I think it is so important for us to what I call celebrate the wins, right?
Yes.
When you go into
Yes.
bed, yes, the to-do list has maybe shrunken by 4 items, right? And there's been seven more added to the bottom of it, or vice versa, wherever they're getting added in. But I think just giving ourselves the grace that we give other people. So often when I'm working with, with my own families, I'll tell them like, have you given yourself the grace that you would give to your son? The
Yes.
answer often is like, grace for myself, like you wish. I really want to dive in because I think you've said this enough times where I want to zoom into this. Is, you're somebody who studies brain health, somebody who understands like the neural pathways. What we say is what we become. You've mentioned to us, and I want actually our viewers to hear more about this because I don't think we mindfully speak as much
Mhm.
as we should. And you've talked about words or energy, which firm believer of that as well. How
Mhm.
can you explain to the people that are watching that hey, if you can just shift this one thing, you can actually change the trajectory of your whole life. So how can you help us understand that the power of words and its energy?
So, the way that I can best help you understand it right now, because I do have coaching where I teach individuals how to be able to default to their best behavior through their words and through their thoughts, if you
Mhm.
will. And the best way I can do it right now, in a nutshell, is just to have you think about this. When you focus on something that's sad, and if you focus on that long enough, you're going to activate the chemicals in your body that will have you feeling sad and possibly have you crying, start making you cry.
Mhm.
If you focus on that long enough. If someone says something to you that triggers you and it brings up a memory where it was sad, the chances are you're going to get sad and emotional over that. The opposite is true. If you hear something funny, or if you say something funny, you will start laughing because you've activated those chemicals within your brain and your body to produce the laughter. And so when you start understanding that you're producing neurochemicals in your brain and in your body based on the thoughts and the words that you constantly communicate, if you if somebody makes you mad and you start thinking about it, you start talking about it, you can feel yourself getting more tense. You can feel that, again, you've activated those neurochemicals. Now, let's talk about the neurochemicals a little bit.
Mhm.
So, when you are happy, when you've completed a task, and you feel happy about it and you celebrate it and you talk to yourself, yes, pat yourself on the back, yes, I did it. You are releasing what is known as dopamine, and
Mm.
that is that reward chemical. And so when you release that dopamine, your body likes the way that feels, and you can condition yourself to produce more dopamine. It takes time to do that, but there are exercises to help you produce more dopamine in smaller doses, because you don't want to flood your system with dopamine, and that's a whole nother show.
Mm.
So that's one neurochemical. Now, when you are angry and when you are upset, you're producing cortisol. And there are other chemicals also that you're producing, but you're producing that cortisol, which cortisol is really more of that fight, that fright, or that freeze chemical within us that gets activated. And when you do that, cortisol is really about warning. So it's more about just
Mm.
really, it's like an alarm system to wake you up, to warn you that danger is there, what have you, but it's not meant to be on all the time, nor are the other chemicals that I'm talking about. You have your ups, your regular ups and downs. And when you understand that, then you know that it's normal to have the ups and downs. The point that I'm making with the cortisol is that if you have too much in your body, it produces inflammation. It causes you to be
Mm.
stressed. It can have you have hypertension. So it can have negative effects on your body. So you don't want to activate the cortisol chemical within your body. When you activate it, though, it takes about 20 minutes to metabolize, to start metabolizing out of your body. And that's only about half of it. So to get that cortisol out of your body, it could take up to an hour to get that out of your body. So there are things that you can do in the meantime to help it alone to actually metabolize out of your body. But
Mm.
it takes almost an hour just to get it out of your body. And the thing that's important about that is that you don't want to do things to continue to contribute that cortisol spike. And so then going to, when you are smiling, laughing, and just having fun, exercising, things of that nature, you're activating endorphins in your body. And endorphins is just like your natural painkillers. It actually helps you with that euphoria feeling. And again, endorphins are really like the opioid of your natural painkiller. That's the best
Mm.
way I know how to say that. And so, with that, again, you don't want that to always be on, because if you are seeking after that kind of high, have you heard of
Mhm.
like the runner's high,
Oh, yeah.
when people run to the point that they can injure themselves, but it's just they're having that euphoria feeling because they are activating endorphins. And so you want to get your endorphins up in small doses through like movement, just a little movement throughout the day. Exercise is good, but you don't want to do it to the point of exhaustion. And then let's talk about the last one. So if you're feeling loving towards someone, if you're feeling safe around someone, if I said serotonin, but I want to talk about oxytocin as well. But so let's go to oxytocin. If you're feeling loving, if you're feeling safe with someone, then you are activating the oxytocin in
Mm.
your body, and you're trusting the group that you are with. And so you want to do that for yourself. I like to use havening, and there that havening is just a process where you just give your own self a hug, where you talk to your
Mm.
own self and you just love on your own self, and you're producing that oxytocin. And then the serotonin, comparison, when you compare yourself to other people, that is a thief. And so you
Mhm.
don't want to do that. What you want to do is compare yourself to yourself for progress. And when you're comparing yourself to yourself for progress, you are activating that serotonin. Serotonin is really all about respect. It's Serotonin is also about that one up position where people want to one up. So if you've ever been in a conversation with a person and you tell them something great that you did, and then they got to come back and tell you something great that they did, and it's like you're just continuing to one up each other.
Mm.
I noticed that years ago about myself. I'm like, why do I always have a comeback when somebody tells me something? I'm like, let me just let them savor in their story and leave my story out of it. And I've since learned that that's all about releasing that serotonin, because it's like you're continuing to be in that one up position. Well, we can do that for ourselves. We can see
Mm.
how well we're doing every day when we're moving forward. So you're releasing again that serotonin when you feel respected and you respect yourself and you have integrity with yourself. And so all of those chemicals, if you will, they are important to managing your brain health, managing your thoughts, your feelings, your
Mm.
moods, your activity. And so I love, love, love understanding the neurochemicals that are produced within our brain and our body. And since I've learned that, I've been able to manage my
Yeah.
neurochemicals so much better. And I had someone on my show. I do a show as well, Elevate Your Life. And I had someone on my show here recently where we got into the effects of neurochemicals on the body and how can you train your brain to actually activate the neurochemicals to promote happiness in your life. And so if you have any other questions centered around my answer, feel free.
Yeah, I loved how much you shared with us. And I think how you've really zoomed in about this concept of balance.
Mhm.
That's a thought that's coming up for me as I hear about dopamine, like too much happiness, too high of a rush. Then actually that could be problematic too, because when that rush comes down, then that's emotions you have to deal with. Where cortisol could be like a positive warning, like, hey, no, don't jump off this bridge, you know? Or it could be like, watch out, there's somebody who's following you.
Mhm.
Right. So really understanding that, and I think how you just even talked about like serotonin, the fact that it could be like a respect and a growth, it can get released at that time, or it can also be released when you're trying to up one where the ego comes into play. I want
Yes.
to dive into that one because it's really just beautiful how serendipity happens, in ways
Mhm.
that we don't anticipate for it to. But that's one of the feedbacks that I received this week, or this weekend, I
Yeah.
should say, from my sister. And what she said was like comparison. And you said the exact same word. One of the
Mhm.
things that we, I think, as humans do, and I'm one to be, I want to try to practice competing with myself only. But how
Yes.
you set up one in that situation is also a way of comparing, right? Like, why aren't you where I was, or why am I not where you are? Why can't I get to where you need to go? So I really want to dive in and understand, like, how can we balance serotonin in a positive way where the ego is not showing up, and that we still have self-respect more than just respect for other people.
Yes. So the simplest way I can say it is that, again, we want to compare our growth to ourselves, meaning, again, that when you compare where you were to where you are, that creates serotonin. And it's just in a small dose, but it's enough to be healthy. And again, so you know you're on a track to move toward accomplishing something. So every time you accomplish, one rung on the ladder, I'll just put it that way,
Yeah.
then you want to, celebrate that, be proud of that, because it's dealing with, again, respect, being proud, and moreover, being proud of yourself for making the progress. Even when you are working to change a habit and you fall short, it's
Mm,
okay when you are aware, okay, I fell a little short today, I didn't accomplish that goal, but you are aware that you didn't do it. So you work on setting yourself up so that you can overcome the obstacles that you may have encountered. You can adjust, if you will, adjust your strategy. When you are aware, then that helps with releasing serotonin, because now, again, you're seeing yourself making progress. You're seeing yourself holding yourself accountable, and you are practicing integrity with yourself. So it boils down to, with serotonin, is that respect is a big thing. And in leadership, let me just say, since
mhm,
your show is about leading with intention, lead in a leadership role, you actually activate serotonin as well. So if you find yourself
mm,
being the leader in your household, on your job, even in different situations, you could be volunteering, whatever. If you find yourself being the leader, that actually activates that serotonin as well. So when you are doing things that will make you feel important, it doesn't have to be important from an ego perspective, but important from a perspective that you are worthy, you are deserving of the things that you aspire to have and do. And you give that to yourself without having to compete with another person. That's really healthy and powerful, and that's a powerful way to activate the serotonin within you, because it feels good. Actually, it feels good when that chemical is activated. Again, you just want to do it in a mindful, healthy way.
mm. Thank you for the lessons. I hope everyone that is watching and still tuned in to learn from Dr. Michelle is really taking some of these great nuggets. You don't have to know what every single chemical is in your mind. You don't have to know, but you gotta start to pay attention. Gotta start to really zoom in and become aware. Just the way that you said, like, why do I have to up one you? I
Right.
notice that when you say something great, I up one you, and that reflects in a way there's an insecurity within our own selves because we're
Hmm.
not celebrating and appreciating the progress that we're making and the growth that we have. So now we go and like you point a finger at someone else, thinking that somehow it's going to make you feel better. But in reality, you've just decreased your own self respect.
And can I add something to that? Thank you for that recap. That was beautiful, because serotonin is actually a part of an antidepressant drug. So it's part
Mhm.
of antidepressant drugs. But if people understand how serotonin works and they know how to boost their serotonin without having to use medication, you know, then that is one way where they wouldn't have to use it. I never tell anybody not to take something that's going to help them if they truly need it.
Mhm.
I just like to default to the natural remedies to help with mood management, opposed to going to drugs that you may have to wean yourself off of, if you ever can come off of them. But if we can try the natural remedies first, through understanding that it's normal for your neurochemicals to go up and down, and once you understand that it's normal that they go up and down, and that
Mhm.
you have to know how to manage them. And if you have the tools necessary to manage them, then you function from a holistic perspective, if you will. That's the best way I know how to say that. Just really as a whole human being, because you know that nothing's wrong with you. You're actually not broken. You just haven't learned how to manage your neurochemicals. And once you know better, you can do better.
I think that's such a beautiful way of just summarizing it. When you know better, you can do better.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a research study that I was reading that talked about how 70 to 80% of our thoughts are negative
Yeah.
and are repetitive. So either they're negative or they're repeating from, from a previous week, previous day, previous, I don't know, previous life. Because a lot of times big things happen in your life and you kind of have to redefine who you are. So just
Yeah.
understanding and pivoting to say, start to notice what is going well. You talked
Mm-hmm.
about gratitude, you talked about compassion, you talked about celebrating the small, tiny wins every single day. And also just recognizing that how many of these thoughts are really there to serve you and how many thoughts are taken away from you, I think is such an important piece of the puzzle that most of us don't really realize. I want to actually dive in and ask you something. Would like for you to please share something personal about you so we all can get to know you a little bit better, Michelle.
Woo. Wow. Gosh, that's a really great question because I have so many things that I can share. So I'm trying to quickly in my mind process, okay, what would be something like really, really great to tell you that's personal? Good, good, good. Hmm. Well, when I was a young youngling, if you will, 18, let me just say what age I was.
Beautiful.
I was really grown and I decided that I knew everything.
Oh.
And my parents didn't know anything, right? And I got married when I was young and had two kids when I was young. And I learned a whole lot very fast that I did not know. I didn't know half of what I thought I knew. And my parents were so right in trying to make me understand that I was still a teenager and that I had so much life ahead of me and that I needed to be aware of the choices I was making for my life
Mm,
and they had repercussions. And so once I really understood the power of choices, my life changed dramatically. One day, I was in a bad place. I mean, a real bad place. And I remember holding my son and thinking, this is not good. And I have these kids, and I need to make better choices for my life. That
mm,
day was a turning point for me, and I started making better choices for my life. And I didn't know personal development back then, I was doing things that was synonymous with personal development, but I didn't call it that back then because I didn't know to call it that back then. But I
mm,
know I just started making better choices. And, from there, I started getting wiser and wiser and wiser. And I decided I wanted more for my life and for my kids. Went back to school and got my college, my associate degree. Then I, again, still wanting more, got my bachelor's degree, wanted more, got my master's degree, wanted more, got my doctorate degree. And believe it or not, the reason I got the doctorate degree, when I got my undergrad degree, a woman was in the audience. She was 63 years old. And
mm.
back then, I'm thinking 63 is old. Of course, I'm getting there like real fast, right? So now I know it's not that old, right? But back then I thought it was so old. But I sat in my chair and I said,
Mm.
wow, at 63, she's just been conferred her doctorate degree. And if she can do it, I can do it. So I looked at her as inspiration.
Mm.
When we compare ourselves to other people, it should only be for inspiration,
Right.
not for anything other than that. And I was inspired that particular day. And so I decided that one day I would pursue my doctorate degree. And I really did it for fun. I did it because I wanted to see if I could complete it. see if I had what it took to complete a doctorate degree. And yes, I had everything that it took. And that lady, that particular day, was truly my inspiration to
Mm.
earn the doctorate degree. And so I've just been having fun ever since. I'm on writing at least three more books. I have a couple books in the works. I just need to get them done. So
Mm.
so that's something personal.
That's that share is so relatable for so many people that are watching today. The first one being, I was young. I thought I knew it all, which we all think. We're like, my mom and dad have no idea how this world works, but I do. And then when you step into that role where you actually are the parent, you are the leader, and you're not role modeling right choices, not only impacting your life, but there's so many other lives that are involved. And the further that you go down, the further that you take them down with you, right? Because in a way, you probably had more stability in your home because you were, your parents were taking care of you, but now here you are being the caretaker, not doing your best. But this, you said the power of choices, and we all have that, regardless of our age. The woman that inspired you, um, the young 62, 63 year old version of that lady, she was like, yeah, so what? It's just a number.
Right.
I aspire more. I dream of more. And here you are saying, yeah, I just got my doctorate's degree because it was fun. I think most people were like, yeah, Michelle, I don't think it's fun, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let's expand that out because I think role modeling, influencing, and this insightful thing that you said, which is something that I think actually went through my own mindset shift where I'm a very competitive person. Just by nature, very competitive. Grew up in a household, my mom and dad compete against each other. We just grew up competing. But I changed the narrative to say healthy competition. And healthy
Yes.
competition is that shift of I compete with myself, but I look at other people's inspiration and see how can I make that authentically mine, right? How can I
Yes.
take what they're doing and really make it something that's it's going to work for my life? What is something that you can share about your family and the dynamics of your family so that way you're practicing what you're preaching or you're passing in the change that you want people to go through?
So I actually want to defer to my mother.
Mm.
My mother has truly been an inspiration for me. And my mother is 84 years young. She is serving on a city council, and she's actually running for city council as we speak. My
Wow.
mother, she has always been a go getter. And so she role modeled how to be successful in life as well, and she role modeled how not to give up on your dreams. So in 2011, she ran for an open council seat, and she was defeated during that particular race, but she continued to serve her community. She
Mhm.
continued to get out and let her voice be heard throughout the community to help other individuals. And in, I think it was 2021, if my memory serves me correct on that part, she was appointed to a city council seat. There was a vacancy. She put her name in the ring, if you will, her hat in the ring, and they unanimously voted her in to her seat. And she achieved one of her lifelong dreams. And she has again been a pillar of strength for our family. I find myself being more and more like her as I mature and grow. My mother has demonstrated how to be financially sound,
Mm.
how to make great decisions, how to continue to pursue your dreams and your goals no matter what the age. And she has just been a pillar of strength for me, my kids, my kids' kids.
Mm.
And I just want to say, because of her example of how to be a person of integrity, a person who is guided by God. When I
Mm.
opened up, I said, I am a child of God, and just a person who exudes enthusiasm. And she has such an optimistic personality. And again, she has passed that along to me and my kids, my daughter, who is another person who's an inspiration for me. I can talk about her all day long. She's the first individual who has created a vision board kit. It's a magazine, the only magazine that you would ever need to create your vision board. She created that some years ago, and now you see a lot of people doing the same thing, but she created that. And here's the point of it all is that once I once I became aware of everything that my mother was instilling in me when I was a child, once I became aware of that and started practicing that, when I learned I have choices in life, and
Mm.
I woke up, it's like the light bulb just finally came on. It's like all that stuff that she was trying to tell me growing up, and I was too stubborn to hear it. It was like the light bulb came on. So because of her practicing and doing the things that she has done over the years, it
Mhm.
has, of course, spilled over into my household. I see my daughter practicing those same things. And what's more about that, my daughter is the the president of a foundation, and that foundation is to educate and inspire young girls to see themselves as beautiful, as
Mhm.
worthy, and teaching them social skills and skills to help them be empowered adults. And so, because of those examples of what my mother has done, my example for what I've done with my kids and my grandkids, it just all, it's just a trickle effect. That's the best way I know how to say
Yeah.
that. And so, bottom line to all of that is, a lot of times what happens in life, we ultimately, yes, we hear the words that are coming out of people's mouth, but we mirror the actions that they
Mhm.
take. And in my household, even though now it's just my husband and I, we get the kids come over and visit us, the grandkids come over and visit us when they're in town. They actually live in another state, and I go visit them as often as I can. I really work to mirror what I want them to do. Bottom line, I don't I mirror good behavior.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk to you all day, Michelle. So we are going to actually, reaching towards our time. I do want to ask you, how can people reach you? How do they get in touch with you, Michelle?
Yes, so people can reach me through my Facebook page. I am Michelle Odette Green. If you see down there for my name, it's
Mhm.
just drop the doctor. On Instagram, drop the green. So on Instagram, I am Dr. Michelle Green. And then I do have a YouTube channel, and it is Dr. Michelle Odette. Actually, if you go to my Facebook page, I do have a link there for my YouTube channel, and I would love, love, love people to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then also, I want to mention I do have a challenge coming up with a couple of other people, and that challenge is elevate your thoughts and elevate your life. That challenge is going to happen on Friday, February the 23rd. It's a 1 hour each day challenge at 7 p.m. And then on Saturday, it's going to be at 2 p.m. This is, excuse me. So it's going to be on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m., which is Mountain Standard Time, and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the challenge is centered around helping you to overcome negative thinking, to understand more about how your brain works and how it applies to your identity, because identity is important to your success, because you will never rise above the level of your identity. And so we're going to be talking about how do you transform your identity so that you can get the things that you want in life. And I just
Mm.
encourage people to go to my page, look at the challenge, click on the link, register for the challenge as well. And so those are a few ways that individuals can get in touch with me.
There you go. I think it would be as simple as dropping a Google search for Dr. Michelle Odette Green, and you will see her surfacing in many different places. And it would be beautiful, to connect with her, to learn from her, because as you can hear today, there is so much inspiration as you just speak, as you let us know about where your life has been and where it's going and what you expect and what you want to leave behind. These are some amazing, amazing, amazing things for every single one of you who has tuned in and given me the highest commodity in the world. That is your time and your energy. I hope today's session was really impactful for you, where you understood that you too have the control and the choices to lead an intentional life. And that could begin with as something as shifting your mindset in the morning, showing grace for yourself, and being in more gratitude for the blessings that you have in your life. As the show is coming to an end, I do want you to go ahead and recognize and realize that you can hear it on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and most importantly, live it so that you can live a more intentional life. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay blessed.